Juniors. Mrs. Nyhoff contacted me about doing a video on life after college for you, life after high school, whether you're going to college or whether you're just going straight into the job world. And I'm really excited to talk to you about this stuff. This has been really a lot of learning experience for me, and I'm really passionate about helping people understand this. I wish I could be talking with you guys in real life, but obviously we've got the whole COVID-19 thing, so I love that you can have a video of me and just replay it as much as you want. And you could keep it with you guys forever. That's great. But seriously, my topic today is to talk about 5 things that I would want to tell myself later, that I would want to tell myself when I'm leaving high school going into college. So let's just go over it. This stuff, I personally, I go to a Christian college and university in Grand Rapids, so that's my experience. So, but a lot of this can apply to if you're just going to the job world, if you're doing something different, if you're continuing education or not. So keep that in mind, apply it to what it applies for you, and I hope you get what you can get out of it. So here's a couple things that I learned this year, and I would want to tell myself. Number 1, I would want to tell myself to try new things. This is something I did really well. I feel I did really well, but I would want to emphasize it to myself to make sure I do it. Go and try new things. I joined a board game club for the first time in the world. Dude, I love it. We play nerdy board games once a month. Once a week, I join a creative writing group, and we write stuff. And it's so much fun. We get to talk about what we've been working on. It's just, there's all kinds of things you can do. I started sitting at new tables with people at college to learn people's names. I know probably, I'd say at least a sixth of the campus. I think that's being pretty generous, but I know probably a sixth of my whole college campus because I'm doing new things. So don't be afraid to try new things. That's where you're going to learn where your passions are, what you're interested in, what you want to spend more time on. Just try new things. It's scary, but now is the time to do it because in college you have a lot of freedom, or after life you have a lot of freedom. After high school life you have a lot of freedom. You're not married yet. If you're gonna get married, you're not married yet. You have a lot of freedom. You're not in high school anymore. You can drive places. You can go out late for Pizza Hut at 3 a.m. if you want to. You have a lot more freedom. So try new things to grow. Number 2, this one's a tough one. Learn how to do conflict with your roommates. I struggled with that this year. I had one roommate who was really awesome and chill, and he's like my best friend, and my other one is we just did not get along. He was always playing guitar late at night. He was always he was making it so I can't go to sleep. He was always in the room playing guitar. I couldn't ever do anything quiet, and I did not speak up enough about that. And I just ended up being mad at him about something that he wasn't aware of. So you got to learn how to do conflict with your roommates because you're living with them. Even if you're not in college, eventually you can share an apartment with somebody. But that conflict resolution is something that you're going to have to learn how to do. Speak up. Number 3, this one's tough. This is the toughest one I've had to do with this year. Number 3, your relationship with your parents is going to change. This hit me in the face when I came home for Christmas break. I hadn't really been home a lot, and so I stayed for 3 weeks with my parents, and it changes from high school. Right now I'm in COVID-19 lockdown, and we're all together, and we're learning what do we do as 3 adults in a house. Your conversations change. Your parents aren't making decisions for you anymore. You're allowed to not do what they say, kind of. Well, not kind of, because you're an adult. You can decide what you want to do. You might have a curfew, you might not, but you have a lot more freedom now, and you're going to have to learn where your relationship is. And that's really hard, and I don't have an answer for it because I'm still working through it. But I would want to tell myself to be aware of it. Let's talk about number 4. Number 4 is I would tell myself to learn from my failures and do it well. You don't have a safety net anymore. You're not in high school. You're an adult. So when you fail, your failures count. But don't be afraid to fail. You learn to do things better when you do fail. It's the Thomas Edison effect, where he worked through all the ways not to find a light bulb. In my creativity classes, they taught me how to write a paper right. When you write a paper, you really should write it multiple times. You shouldn't just go through and do it once. So when I write papers now, I actually do it 4 times. I write it once, and then I go through and fix what I like, and take out what I don't like, and then I do it again, and I do it again, and then I do it again. And you do things better that way. So in your life, learn from your failure, and don't be afraid to fail, because it's part of life. Don't be afraid of how people think about you. That kind of goes with try new things, and don't be afraid to fail. The last thing I want to talk to you about is probably the biggest thing that's been really evident in my life over this last year. It's the idea of God's will. And my view of God's will has completely changed from when I left high school. When I left high school, I thought it was a very clear-cut thing that God wanted me to do. God wanted me to be a teacher. He wanted me to always be doing a teaching thing, and if he switched, I had to switch. If he wanted me to go into get my master's, I had to go and do that. And it was something I had to do. And God rarely works like that. I was listening for this voice that just wasn't coming. Even like when you go to college, you have to go to the right college, and you might not get that voice. And that's actually the most common thing, is you won't hear that. So what do you do in those times? Well, I've been learning that God's will is not as cut and dry as we think it is. It's got a lot more freedom to it. So when we go through life, the biggest guidelines that God gives us is in the Bible, where He teaches us to love God and teaches us to love others. And when we do those things, we do everything for the glory of God. Our life revolves around that. It's really hard not to be in God's will at that point. I mean, what's the worst you can do? If you're looking to serve God and serve others, how are you not in God's will? And I can do that as a teacher. I've actually changed my major 4 times this semester. I'm on my 4th one. And that goes into trying new things. I'm trying new things, and I'm not really failing, I guess. I'm learning, but right now, I think God's will is for me to become a literature professor. But I started as an English teacher, and then I went into psychology and counseling, and then I went into creative writing, and I thought I was going to stay there, and now I'm going to be a literature professor in a minor in creative writing with a minor in Bible, and I have a creativity degree. So it's just like nothing I thought that would be, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else right now. And God might take me a different path. I guarantee it will not be anything in science or math because I don't want to do that. But God gives us a lot of choice, and we don't need to really be afraid of making the wrong choice when we have the desire to serve Him and serve others. And I wish I would have known that last year. I was really scared of messing up. And God gives us a lot of freedom. So don't be afraid to make a choice and try new things, especially with God's will. Don't be afraid of disappointing God if you're trying to serve Him. I want to leave you off on a note. This is Dallas Willard. It's my little note card I keep by my desk. It's from Dallas Willard. He's a pretty big guy in the Christian community, and he says, God has yet to bless anyone except where they actually are. And if we faithlessly discard situation after situation, moment after moment as not being right, quotation marks, we will simply have no place to receive His kingdom in our life. If you're always looking for the right thing, you're not ever going to find it, because there's a lot of right answers. So be afraid to embrace that ambiguity where you don't always know where you're going. Last thing I want to leave you on, hopefully it's an encouragement for you. Corrie ten Boom, she says, worry does not empty Worry does not empty tomorrow of its troubles. It empties today of its strength. So don't let your strength be drained. Don't let your worries about life or God's will or anything like that drain you. 5 things that I would want to tell myself. Number 1, try new things. You're going to grow from it. Number 2, learn how to do conflict with your roommates, because it's not going to go away. You're going to have to learn to do conflict with everybody. Number 3, learn that your relationship with your parents is going to be different, and you got to figure out how that's going to work. Number 4, learn how to fail well, and learn to learn from your failures. Lastly, allow your view of God's will to have a little more freedom than you've been giving it. Those are my 5 things, guys. I'm so excited that you're getting ready to go into life after college, life after high school. I'm so excited for you. This is the biggest adventure of your life. You're young. You have a lot of freedom. Try out stuff, guys. And God's not going to leave you astray. And don't be afraid. You're going to do awesome.